So in the tradition of Robin-inspired fits, I did try to recreate the fit from the video store. How'd I do? Also, I either need someone to talk me into or talk me out of getting the flappy red hat that he wears throughout this whole thing. If you can't already guess, I really love this movie. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and my ongoing quest to review every movie that Robin Williams has ever done. Took last week off for mental health purposes, I guess. But this week I am looking at 1991's The Fisher King, which is the second time Robin works with director Terry Gilliam. This movie also stars Jeff Bridges, Mercedes Ruehl, and Amanda Plummer. The Fisher King stars Robin Williams as Perry, a crazy homeless man who kind of forms a friendship with Jeff Bridges. So the plot of the movie is that Jeff Bridges is this asshole, disgusting radio host, and he is like living large, he has a great life, and then one day one of his followers shoots like 7 people in a bar, and his whole life goes downhill. And I don't know if it's a spoiler or not. I guess quick spoilers, so like mute it for the next couple seconds if you don't want to know. But the reason that's important is because Perry's wife was killed in that shooting, and that's kind of why he's crazy. The movie is about their friendship and the things that Jeff Bridges learns from Perry and helping him kind of get his life back together and fall in love again. And the whole time Perry is completely delusional and thinks that he is on a quest to find the Holy Grail and that this Red Knight is chasing him, and there's a lot going on. I think it's a really beautiful movie. I loved it a lot. But before we get into that, there is a lot of fun stuff, fun background facts and history, so let's get into that. This is Terry Gilliam's first film to not feature any Monty Python alums, which is cool, I guess. While it isn't mentioned in the film, Perry's name is short for Parsifal, the Pure Fool, and the legendary Knight of the Holy Grail. Perry brings redemption to Jack, the Jeff Bridges character, just as Parsifal brought redemption to the Fisher King in the actual story. Terry Gilliam actually knew he wanted Robin to play this part when, during the making of Baron Munchausen, they were out to dinner and Robin started doing this like crazy character, like how he would do. And I guess a couple months or maybe years later, they were at a party and Terry asked him to do it again, and he did do it again, but he had like revised the bit and he changed some of the jokes. Robin was very eager to work with Terry Gilliam again and saw Perry as a way to explore a very dark part of himself. He said, "It's freeing to create that character because you can really explore where you've been and the aspects of why you would want to deny that, performing for the sake of avoiding." Though he did feel occasionally that he was going to let his fans down by doing a film that was sort of like a dramedy, which is odd. I don't know why he would feel that way specifically about this one. Jeff Bridges said that Robin was very gracious and was actually a very trained actor who just has comedy in his tool belt. Like, Jeff Bridges was kind of worried that Robin was going to be making him crack up all the time, and that wasn't the case. Emotionally though, this film was very tough for Robin to shoot. There's a scene where he is running from the Red Knight in the city and kind of having this psychotic break, and when they were filming that scene, he just kept pushing himself and pushing himself and pushing himself and being like, no, there's more pain I can show, there's more I can do. And they were like, dog, you are pouring sweat, like, it is time to pack it up for the night. And Robin just wanted to do takes over and over again until he would just be like spent and like crying. Terry Gilliam said he would have to like comfort him a lot of the time because he just wanted so badly to like give every ounce of himself to this performance, which you can really see. Perry is like a really great intersection of having just like little sprinkles of the manic Robin Williams, but also being a different person. And it is, well, I'm not done with the fun facts yet, but, and some extra fun facts, I just think these are extra funny. There was a homeless man named Radio Man who walked the city of New York with a boombox, and he would sometimes show up on set to talk to them. But I guess he looked so much like Robin in costume that he would just wander around set, and sometimes people would not realize that it was this guy and not Robin for like hours. Jeff Bridges said later that there was a moment during the filming of this where they were so exhausted and the two of them just like collapsed and they sat down under a bridge at like 4 in the morning after having filmed forever. Jeff Bridges said as soon as they sat down, they were immediately shit on by like 20 pigeons and they just started dying laughing. Like I said, this is a very beautiful film. It's very funny. It's very moving where it needs to be. I guess on the whole, it is a very formulaic story. Like, it is a redemption arc and somebody learning something from someone quirky, but it's so enjoyable because you can see how much fun this was for everybody to make. It is so much fun to watch Robin playing and like switching from the mindset of complete detachment into the moments where he can have full conversations and explain this whole like myth to Jeff Bridges. I really do wish that they had gone more into depth on what exactly was wrong with Perry outside of just he was in a coma and he woke up crazy. It was thought-provoking in the way I started to wonder if Perry is like truly crazy or if he is just past the point of giving a single fuck because he has nothing left to lose anymore. And it seems like maybe it's sort of a mix of both. It's also thought-provoking in you, at least up until the end, you kind of wonder for a while if Jeff Bridges' character Jack is doing what he's doing for himself or for Perry, and you kind of get to see both. They did do a very good job of making Jeff Bridges such an asshole. Like, right off the bat, he is so disgusting. And there'll be a couple of times throughout the movie where you, like, think that you're really gonna start to root for him finally, and then he does something else asshole. The inciting incident of the movie, the shooting in the bar, is so not done how I would expect it to. You find out sort of in passing, like Jeff Bridges sees it on the TV and he's like, oh no, and then it just goes like 3 years later. And for something that sets the whole course of this movie in action, I kind of thought it was going to be a little bit of a bigger deal. At times, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on because there are a lot of like Dutch angles and a lot of the shots are very dark. I don't know if that was to convey the tone of like the grunge of it all. Robin's intro when he first shows up as Perry is, oh my god, it's so good. Mercedes Ruehl, who plays Jeff Bridges' girlfriend in this, is incredible. She is really funny. She's got a lot of great speeches. She's an incredible character. I really liked Amanda Plummer in this as well as Robin's love interest. She's very cute and they're so sweet. This is like, the romance is a little bit weird because they're both mentally ill, but it was very sweet. I think that's partially why I enjoyed this so much, because I got to see elements of the Robin Williams formula that I enjoy outside of the formula. Like, there's not really a big bad establishment in this other than like the large scale homelessness tragedy. The Red Knight costume is so cool, and it's actually a costume, like that's practical effects. It was apparently like heavy as hell. So many scenes in this are just chef's kiss. There's a couple of quirky like homeless side characters that show up and like say a couple lines with Perry and then leave. One of them is played by Michael Jeter, and he's like this crazy like ex-cabaret singer who shows back up in another scene. Has this amazing quote where he says, "Why can't I be Katharine Hepburn? I just want to die," which is relatable. That is another character I wish that they had visited again, because I loved that character. Ultimately, my only gripes with this movie are just like, I wish that they had delved into the mental illness part more. I wish that the angles, like that it wasn't so hard to like actually watch sometimes, and I wish that there were a couple of other characters that we got to know more about as well. I was invested enough in the movie to be actively screaming at Jeff Bridges when he started to become an asshole again. Let's have a nice, good, happy ending. Like everything is kind of wrapped up in a bow, which is nice, if not vaguely unrealistic, but that's okay. Oh, I tweeted this, but there was a moment in this where I synced up perfectly with Robin's character. He's leaving the house of his girlfriend, his new girlfriend, and she's like, "You can call me," and she goes inside, and I was like, wait, did she even give him the number? And immediately after I said that, Perry went, "She didn't even give me the number," and I was like, ah. The reviews of The Fisher King were largely incredibly positive, if not on the whole just like slightly dismissive of Robin's performance. Everything was just like, oh, this movie is great and Robin is good in it, but a lot of the reviews did not really go in depth. Glenn Close, Robin's co-star from World According to Garp, wrote to him after she saw the movie and said, "You held my heart in the palm of your hand, broke it, and then put it back together better than before." Fisher King was also very successful financially. It was #1 at the box office for the first 3 weeks of its release. It got nominated for a lot of awards as well. Mercedes Ruehl actually won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, which there's this scene where she's going off on Jeff Bridges where I was like, that's the scene, baby girl. Robin was nominated for Best Actor. I think it was nominated for Best Picture and Screenplay as well. The scene where Robin has the psychotic break is incredibly well done, and the only reason I think he didn't win that year is because Fisher King was at the Oscars at the same time as The Silence of the Lambs, and if you know, Silence of the Lambs is one of 3 films that has ever like gotten the big 5 awards in one night, like actor, actress, director, picture, and screenplay. So Fisher King did not stand a damn chance, and like absolutely Anthony Hopkins should have the Oscar for Silence of the Lambs, but he did win the Golden Globe for Best Actor Comedy, which is I guess the next best thing you can get for that year. If you haven't, I think The Fisher King should be talked about more. I know that it's talked about some because I had heard about it once or twice before doing this series, and I had been interested in watching it for quite some time and just never gotten around to it. But if this is not consistently in like people's top 5 Robin Williams films, I think it should be. It's really great. If you haven't seen it, it is streaming for free on Pluto TV. You can also rent it on Vudu, YouTube Prime, and iTunes. I definitely recommend that you do. It's so good. I've just been thinking about it for the past day since I watched it, and I just like, I don't know, it just makes me feel good. And that's hard to come by. So, next week, Dustin Hoffman will finally be in a film that I'm talking about on my channel. It's Hook. I've already said that it's gonna be Hook. You know that it's Hook. Everyone's excited about Hook. If you want to send me videos talking about what Hook means to you, if it's nostalgic for you, if you grew up loving it, you still have a chance to do that for about the next week or so. Go fish, kings.